The next set of angles we need to measure is, according to the chart, when we've adjusted the seat as far backwards as we can get it, or in a in a counterclockwise direction, which means we're going to record it as negative. And we let the back do whatever it's going to do when we made that adjustment. And you can see the back has responded as well. But it was a seat measurement or seat adjustment we just made, and so now we will allow that backrest to be where it is. You know, notice we've had a very large, almost 10-degree tilt here towards the rear, or because it's going in the counterclockwise direction, it's a minus 10 degrees. We go up here again, and we see that the back now is tilted about the same amount rearward of horizontal as we get out of the seat. So the numbers we would record then would be a minus 10 degrees here for the seat, and that again that minus 90 degrees coming up to vertical, and another minus almost 10 degrees. We'll make it 8 degrees here for the vertical. So the angle we will record here for the vertical would be minus 90. In addition to that, another 8 degrees will be minus 98 degrees. So we put those numbers in their appropriate column, and now we have to do the calculation again, and we have minus 98 for the back, and we have a minus 10 for the seat. That getting us a difference of 88 degrees. Measurements number 4 out of the chart require that we leave the seat adjustment where it was, and we adjust the chair back as far forward as we can do that. And we did that. And we got some response here, although I see the seat back is still somewhat rearward of the vertical. And we got a little bit of response in the seat from that seat back adjustment. So we would record whatever the value is for the seat, which would be negative, and we would record whatever value there is for the back. And remember, it's minus 90 plus some amount. We record those, and we take the difference between those two to be the angle between the seat and the back. Our next required measurement is with the seat adjusted all the way forward again now, while leaving the back adjusted forward as much as possible. And we did that off camera, and it was a little bit fun, which you might have enjoyed seeing, but you didn't. When we did that, the chair kind of lurched forward, and it threw these weights off of the pegs. We had to very carefully put them back on, but we heard a lot of noise as the weights hit the floor. Fortunately, no one was hurt, so we'll proceed with the discussion. But you can see here some pretty profound angles now. So again, we're required to record the seat angles, and the seat is tilted forward. So you're going to get some sort of a positive value here as you make this measurement. And then, of course, this is now tilted forward. So remember, now we're still making this measurement where we're coming up off the horizontal, this minus 90 degrees. But oh, by the way, you have to come back forward with it a little bit, quite a little bit here. So it appears to be about 10 or more degrees forward. So in this case, you'd have minus 90 with 10 back the other direction. So we're probably going to have a minus 80 here. So that's what you would record. You'd record that plus value here for the clockwise direction of that angle. And you'd have this at a minus 80 instead of a minus 90 or whatever. Your calculation, of course, would then come out as the difference between the two of a plus 8 or so here and a minus 80 here, and the difference between the two would be something in the range of about 88 or so degrees. It's angle measurement number 6, and this requires that we leave the back tilted as far forward as we can tilt it, and we put the seat as level as we can get it. We're pretty much right on. So again, we would have this be essentially horizontal so that it ends up with an angle measure of about 0. We'd record that. This is tilt forward, but not as much as it was before. It's probably setting at that minus 90 back this direction 5 degrees for about a negative 85 degrees. And so we would record that, and then when we take the difference between the seat, which is exactly level, and this minus 88 degrees, that difference is 85 degrees. Our next measurement is going to be a measurement of the angles when the chair has been tilted. And it's, in this particular case, the tilt is going to be when you've started out with a level seat. So we've made all the various adjustments that we need to make to have that happen. And I'm going to tell you a real cautionary note here. There's a footnote D on the chart for measurement number 7, and that D has a very lengthy description of what happens here. And as I mentioned earlier, we're directed to take the weights off of the top weight off of the seat and move it up here to the back of the CMD. We've also adjusted the tension so that its tension is set to a minimum. And we're also cautioned to make sure that the seat back was against its stop. The backrest was against its stop. And we've checked that it is, and it is. So now we've simulated a person sitting in the chair, tilting back. And we go through and make the various measurements and calculations, and record them in the appropriate places. The key here was to pay attention to that footnote, to remember to take the weights off the seat, put it on the back, and set the tension in the spring to its minimum. Our next measurement step is step number 8. Checking the angles with the chair tilted as far back as a person would, but with previously having set the chair up so that the seat itself was adjusted to tilt as far back as it would go. We've done that. We have a very profound angle now, as you can see. And of course our footnote D specified that we left the weights from the seat on the back instead, and our tilt tension mechanism is set for its minimum. So you make some very obvious recordings of a very profound negative seat angle and a very profound back angle. You record those and you take the difference between the two, and we have here a very significant difference between the seat and the back. It's probably going to come out somewhere in a different range of over 105 degrees. Our last and number 9 measurement that we're going to make of the angles is with the chair adjusted so that the seat is tilted as far forward as it will go, but still have a tilt on the chair back. So we've set that up and done that. So we've still got the weights off the seat on the backrest, and we've still got the tension set to a minimum. But you can see here we're going to get a very profound positive angle forward and fairly profound angle to the rear of the vertical. So we would have, again, perhaps a plus 7 or 8 degrees here. We're going to get that minus 90 coming up here, and another perhaps 20 or so degrees here. And so you're going to have a negative back angle that will be recorded of probably somewhere in the range of about minus 105 or 10 degrees. And you're going to have this 7 or 8 degrees forward for the seat. You'll record those, and you'll take the difference between the two, and that will come up somewhere in the range of 115 to 20 degrees.